Steve, can we start with a check on injuries? Johnson, Clark, Harris, Malik Wilkes, any chance of having them for this game?
Well, we'll decide today. They've been training. They've been training on the grass for a week now. So they've been out with the group yesterday, and they'll go back out today before we board the coach to go down to Reading. So I'll probably have a really good look at them today.
If Johnson, Clark, Harris does come back for this game, or whenever he comes back for that matter, do you want a bit more from him?
I think he knows we need a bit more. And that's the most important thing with footballers at all levels. Do they understand we need a bit more? And Jono does accept that. They'll see a lighter and fitter and leaner Johnson Clark Harris when he comes back. He's worked really, really hard in the last 4 or 5 weeks. Now, we've driven him, he's driven himself. I can see similarities to how Chris Wood drove himself at Leeds. When I first arrived at Leeds, I told him he was not a bit podgy. Woody took it in the right spirit, as in, I'll do something about it. John has done that in the last month or so, but we need to see a bit more from Johnson.
Sometimes does it require a home truth from the manager to inspire them? And how careful do you have to be with a modern day footballer when you're delivering that home truth?
I think you have to be careful with the modern day person, don't you? You know, you often hear the managers of today, whether it be Wada, whether it be Arteta, whether it be Pep, you know, you have to be careful how you manage certain different individuals. Johnson's a bit easier. You can give him it straight between the eyes, and he's a strong boy. He'll take it. He'll give it if he feels it's unfair. So a few home truths don't go wrong, but you have to do it in a way that the player's receptive to put into practice what you're asking.
Have you got any idea how long Raggett will be unavailable
He's
for?
seen his specialist today, so we will know today.
Is that one of the big disappointments for you this season?
Sean's been on the pitch 8 or 9 times.
Yeah.
The injury, he never missed a game in the previous 4 years, so it's difficult for him to accept that I've come here and it's been different injuries, if you like. So, and unusual injuries like bone bruising, you know. So they're unusual injuries, and we miss Sean. You know, a really fit and at it Sean Raggett gives us a big plus. So, but we'll see how it is. We'll let the consultant do the talking.
Have you got any further clarity on how long Dan Gore is going to be out for?
So I think Dan's going to be best part of a month. You know, he had a slight hairline fracture on his metatarsal. You know, the reality is these things can happen at any time, and it can either be under duress and then you can literally be walking, it can happen. So he's disappointed down by it, but he'll be back before the end.
I suppose that is good news. What would you say though, because people have speculated at times like this, Steve, and people have said, something similar happened at Port Vale, he just didn't fancy it. Is that inaccurate?
No, it's inaccurate. It's total madness of somebody on social media in a dark bedroom. That's what that is. The kid went to Port Vale. They were as gutted as he was. I mean, he got an injury, and then this summer he got a little dislocation on a shoulder challenge, and gets himself back to fitness. Gets in with, you know, Ten Hag absolutely loved him. Had him in the first team in the pre-season, having around it, and we worked really hard to get him. Then comes here and does something like that. I thought at Birmingham he came on the pitch and he looked. If I'd been sat as a neutral manager, I'd say that kid's obviously come from higher, or he's very talented, or both. And because he displayed enough in that game to be a real asset to us. And he's really down about it. We're down about it, but what do? From you don't go further down, you raise your shoulders back and you deal with it.
You could have easily won the game in midweek, and there's been some other games recently where things haven't gone your way. Do you feel like you've had the rub of the green the last few weeks?
Listen, we've been slanted by injuries all season, and we also say that's an excuse. It's reality when you're missing the big players that we've missed.
Has the season been unexpectedly challenging at times?
Yeah, I think we all know it's been challenging since we arrived here in April. We had so much to deal with in terms of the football side. Nothing to do with funding, nothing to do with infrastructure. That's actually the $250,000 on the pitches, terrific backing in both windows. But we'd a lot to deal with in terms of last season's group and a lot of outs and how you manage those outs, and some people staying in that perhaps didn't want to be here. So that's all been challenging, but that's just on top of the normal issues we've had to deal with. The main one has been availability of big players that we've lost at certain times has not helped us. and then we go through 2 or 3 weeks at really good, then bang, we go with some injuries again. So we need to offset that. We need to go to Reading and get a positive result. If we get a positive result, it sets it up for a humdinger as a Barnsley next week, and we know what that means to the supporters because we heard it to a wrath away at Barnsley.
If I ask you, do you still believe this team can make the playoffs? I know what you're going to say. You'll say yes. But when you look at the players and the squad, do you think they believe that?
Yeah, I do think they believe it. I think they know with everyone fit, we give ourselves a chance. But I don't live in cuckoo land. We need to produce 4 or 5 consecutive wins to break into that group. Nothing that my teams have not done everywhere I've been, including here in the past. But you have to believe it. I believe it. The staff believe it. The players believe it. If it gets to the stage we don't believe it, I won't be frightened of saying we're going to miss the boat here, or the boat has sailed. And then obviously we have a process to do what we need to do for next season. This was always going to be tough.
So just clear up a bit more on the team news. You said on Tuesday night, Sean had seen the
Yeah.
today. Did the Wednesday one not happen?
No, Sean Raggett. Yeah, no, the consultant wanted some clearer images. That's all it was. So he's seen the consultant on Wednesday. They wanted some clearer images to know what they're dealing with. It doesn't make it any worse or any clearer. It could be better. It can be better news, but we'd rather let them do the talking.
Okay, and Alex McDonald.
Alex McDonald's he's seen a consultant today because his little niggles is not cleared up in the timescale, which would have been this week that we'd expected. Consultant doesn't think it's in major, but you see them again today.
Okay, Sean McWilliams.
Sean McWilliams is back on the grass. He's been training for most of the week, so we'll have a look at him over the weekend.
So maybe for Barnsley then.
Yeah, I think there's no reason why we wouldn't have Johnson. Unless there's setbacks, why we wouldn't have Johnson, Malik, and Sean McWilliams is minimums, and Keone back in the group.
Yeah, I saw JJ training gym last week. How close is he?
Yeah, he's close. I think the kid's just concerned that because of his historical injuries that he don't go back too early. But the medical side, he's been out in the grass. He was training it full on the last couple of days, and so we'll see how he is.
Okay, would he be back with the group next week, you think?
Oh no, he's with the group yesterday. He's with the group yesterday. He trained today, so we just need to make sure that we're bringing them back at the right time. And there's always 2 ways in this, Rob. There's always the medical department. I was looking with our eyes, but you also have to ask your players.
Such a sad one on Dan Goy. He's talked about like a hairline fracture before. Could that be something that was already an underlying thing before he even came here? It's not been spotted.
No, we don't think so. We think that would be too long. Yeah, we think it would be too long. They just said they can have a delayed reaction. It's unusual for that to happen, but it can happen, and we have to accept that. When I've seen the reaction of the kid when he knows he's hotting and he's going to be out for that 3 or 4 week period, he's genuine. He wants to play. I'm an experienced manager. You get a gut feel about these things, and he's at a stage in his career at Manchester United. In the words of Manchester United coaching staff, he needs to be playing. Yeah. But they also understand you can't play if you're not right.
Zach, in the last few weeks, it feels as if there's been some real missed opportunities for this team to drop points and then try and get a bit closer to the top 6. Why do you think you've had some of those games?
I'm not really too sure, really. I think, I don't know, football is just a bit unpredictable. Our performance levels, I'd say, have dropped. I would say from when we had that really, really decent run. But I don't feel it was through like a lack of effort. Obviously, we've had a few boys go down injured at bad moments, which doesn't really help. But yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those we have to brush ourselves down and move on to the next. We had Blackpool on Tuesday. I feel like we should have got more than a point out of that game. But on a positive note, it was a hard-fought, clean sheet. It just didn't really drop for us in the final third. So yeah, you have to take the positives from that and move on to Reading, which is tomorrow.
When you've looked at your results against teams that are around you or even above you in the table, there's a difference compared to the games against the teams down at the bottom. Has there ever been any underestimation of some of the opponents that you're playing at times?
I can only really speak for myself, and the answer to that would be no. yeah, I've had conversations before leading up to playing against teams down in the bottom four, and I know that those games are the hardest really in the season. Earlier on in my career, you would look at those fixtures and think, yeah, it's an easy 3 points, but I know, like, through experience, that it's not really that easy. Those teams, sometimes I've been on that side of the coin, playing against teams higher up in the division, and you're not really expected to get something, and you get a freak result. So yeah, I know those fixtures are tough. So from my perspective, no, I wouldn't say that we underestimated them. I'll just put it down to bad days at the office.
Is there still a belief within this group that you can force your way into the playoff mix?
I think for us it's a case of game by game. We need to take each game as it comes, tackle each opportunity to pick up 3 points, and then we have to see where that leaves us at the end of the season. I think when you look too far ahead, I think you kind of get distracted, and yeah, you get lost in your targets and goals and stuff. I feel like for us at the moment, it needs to be game by game and chipping away at those points.